been better if it was just like, here's Batman stroking the Joker off. I'd be okay with that if they had to delay a game 2 weeks because of that.
We don't really need anybody. Let's just... Kyle can talk about Bloodborne this month, and then...
We can do, like, 9 consecutive weeks of me just talking about Bloodborne.
A game that you don't even own.
I don't own it. I don't know when I will have a chance to play it. And yet, I can't get enough of this fucking game. I'm so hyped. Like, I love the shit out of that studio, that series. I love the subtlety and the nuance they put in those games. Something like about those games versus your more common like AAA titles is like you can walk around in an area and it's just like a set piece. Like the Dark guys were just like, this looks fucking cool. Let's just put it here. In the Soul series, everything is there for a reason, down to the specific enemies they put there, to why there's a light there, to why that statue is there, and that statue has these markings on it. Everything is there for a reason, because everything is there to tell a story. And if you don't pay attention to it, you'll miss that subtlety, and you won't get all the pieces to the story and the lore that is there. That's why I fucking love those games. Because it doesn't force it down your throat. And you can have a perfectly good time just slashing shit and killing shit and dying and dying and dying and dying. But if you really take time and don't just guns blaze through everything, you can really appreciate a lot of the effort they put into them and the amount of detail that's there and thought that's behind it. And Bloodborne is no exception. I haven't even played the game, but having just seen so many videos and streams of it, like it's there just all over the place, and I wish I had a PS4 like really bad. Or I hope that Amazon France rumor is true.
I mean, we can talk about that now. If you were Sony, because they had it, I mean, it's developed by From Software, am I correct?
It's developed by From Software, but I don't know if it's in collaboration or produced, but Sony Japan Studios.
Sony had a lot to do with this game.
Is on there, and they basically own the game.
Yeah.
As a result.
I mean, I saw that Amazon France rumor type thing, where it was listed as PC. I forget the date, or even if it had a date. But I mean, if you were Sony, are you going to release this game on PC or just make it exclusive? Like, because you're one of those people that want to play it really bad. We're the majority of PC gamers, us three. And so...
like, I don't think there's a shot in fucking hell of it ever coming to PC.
I second that.
Especially a game like this, which is, like... There's so many people that own PS3s just because of Demon Souls and Dark Souls. That's it. And... you know, like those people that do that can buy that game, and that'll be the only game that play that generation. My roommate has a friend, for example, who has probably poured 10,000 hours into Dark Souls.
That's a lot of hours.
At minimum, 10,000. Like, he literally plays that game every day. Every day. And he just, like, he's so good at the game that he could play it with his eyes closed. But he loves it, and it's the only game... Those are the only games out there that are like the way they are. And so, I think they're just going to bank on people giving in to buying a PS4 just to play Bloodborne.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I don't see that no way coming to PC.
Which is it's a bummer for a few reasons. Most importantly, because I really don't want to buy a PS4 for one video game.
But you're probably going to at some point.
if I can afford it at some point, I will buy that fucking game and that goddamn console. But the other reason is, more importantly, is it overall suffers as a game as a result of being on the PS4. It's in 30 FPS max, and it suffers some severe frame drops from what I keep hearing in certain areas. So you can't run it on a high-power PC to get 60 FPS, because especially a game like that, man, going from 30 to 60 in those games makes just a tremendous difference in just how just polished and slick and quick and reactive the gameplay is. And the fact that game will probably remain at 30 FPS is a big bummer to me, because it could be even better than it already is just by being on a different platform. So, yeah, I think Sony could make a lot more money if they put it on fucking PC, just by the amount of copies they would sell. But I don't think there's any chance in that happening.
Me neither. And so I have played it. I am completely new to the whole genre of the whole Soul series. And I've played maybe 5 minutes of the original Dark Souls and just said no, because I was like, this is not for me. And the whole 2015 so far, Zeus Bag has just been, this game is going to be so fucking good. It's like, he's got me pumped for it. And so, like, I bought it, and I knew what I was getting myself into. And I've put, like I said, 10, 12, 13 hours, somewhere along that range, just this weekend. And I am still in the starting area. Like, I don't think you should still be in the starting area at 10 hours deep.
Well,
or maybe you're just bad.
I'm really bad. Like, the first 5 hours, I was like, this game, I just wasted $60. This game is absolutely pointless. I kept dying over and over, and I finally was just like, all right, slow down and just try to just take your time. I'm very impatient. I'm an impatient gamer. I admit to that. And so I had to, kind of learn how to play. And so I did all of this. 45 minutes, an hour later, I was like, I saw a pathway where I was like, oh, I haven't been down there yet. So I go down there, and this big-ass fucking dude comes out with a brick and just murders me instantly. Just gone. And I restarted, and of course everything respawns. And I'm just like, I have to do all this over again? Like, there's no save. I can't find another lamp. Like, what is happening? And, like, I took a break because I was like, this is ridiculous. And then,
I was watching some Twitch streams, and same thing that you explained. Like, clearly people that were not experienced with this genre, or at least were not very good at it, and they were rage quitting, just up and left their chairs and just walked away. So I just kept changing streams and kept watching people do it, which I thought was hilarious.
I mean, like, those games will punish you very badly for rushing, for not paying attention, and for being bad. All three of those things will get you killed repeatedly. And, if you've never played one before, chances are you have to completely change the way you approach video games overall.
Yeah, and
to progress and to enjoy it.
I do want to bring that back up, but at a later time. And but so, like, I went back to playing it, and I took my time, and I was exploring areas, and I'll say, like, it was one of the few times in the past few years where I've just been exploring, and I've just been like, just on edge, like, rounding corners, ducking and dodging just like through corners, and like exploring the game and just taking my time to look at all those subtleties, and like, it's like, why is this barrel here, and why is that there, and you end up running, you break a couple barrels and there's like a hole, and it leads to a new area, and
exactly.
And like, it was a very joyous time, but like my anxiety was so high because I was like, I could literally be murdered at any point and have to go back, all the way. And if you haven't played these games, or if you have, I eventually did find because in the starting area there's a couple like gates that are locked, and this is probably true for all the Souls games, I imagine. And
well, I'll talk about that.
Yeah, and so like I rounded, I went through this other path, and I ended up coming to the gate that was like in the first area, and you could open that up, and then when you spawn at the lamp, you could just go down here and skip everything over here. So once I found that, I was like, oh my god, thank you. And so that made it a lot easier. And so like I'm getting used to the series, or used to the gameplay and the mechanics, and I really like it. Every time I put it down, I rage quit when I quit. I completely rage quit. And then not an hour later, I'm like, all right, let's give this motherfucker another try, or like, let me go do this. And it's even though it is in 30 FPS, and it'll never change, and the loading screens are abysmal.
That is a big goof on their part, especially for a game where you spend a lot of time dying and having to rinse and repeat, and you're going to see that loading screen a whole lot as is. I mean, for one thing, like, fuck, if it's got to be that long, why in the shit did you decide for it to just be Bloodborne?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, because I've never played the Souls games except for that 5-minute stint. But, so that's not like in the other ones. Because I didn't know if this was like a conscientious effort for them to be like, think about what you did. Learn from your mistakes.
No, there's always been load screens between deaths or going to new areas, or before in Dark Souls they're referred to bonfires, which are the lamps. And if you go to a bonfire to fast travel, there's a loading screen. But usually, like, the loading screens are a lot shorter, for one, and for two, they usually have like an item description or some type of lore there for you to read, or like some hints or something to kind of at least like give you something to focus on besides just staring at a fucking blank screen. So I don't know why they didn't do that with this one, and the load times are just absolutely atrocious. There's no excuse for it. The fact that people have to say, I might have to buy an SSD for my PS4 to increase my load times is just bullshit.
Well, yeah, and I've heard that doesn't work. There's a gamer that I know that said that doesn't work.
I've heard it shortens it by like 5 seconds.
It's like very minimal.
Okay, totally worth it.
So you don't think that is like an effort from software?
No, because they're going to patch it out.
Yeah, they are going to patch it out. So that's what makes me think that it's not rendering this. It is a beautiful landscape, and it's not rendering all this. And so like it had me thinking that it was like the developers or whoever is just like, think about what you did, like sit there and think about it.
Well, I mean,
because it is getting patched, and so it's going to be changed.
But at the same time, they say they're working on patching it. It doesn't mean they've got a timeline or how far along they are with that patch. I mean, as good as their games have been historically, and as mechanically driven as they have been, they have still had they've had some technical pitfalls, and so it's not like they've got the same skill level coders as like Rockstar for GTA 5 or Blizzard has for WoW or something like that. So it could have been something that they just had to put on the back burner during development in order to meet their timeline, and now are like, well, shit, everyone really doesn't like this like we thought, and we're just going to have to fix it. So, I mean, I really don't think it's intentional, because it's one thing to just Miyazaki, who's the director for these games, he's always tried to maintain that these games are hard for a reason, and it's not to be a dick about it. It's not supposed to be like, you're just a filthy casual and you can't handle these games. The difficulty's there for a different reason. That is the satisfaction you get from the game overall, is overcoming this difficulty, and the fact that you never feel safe in those games. No matter how strong you get, you still can get killed by anything in these games relatively quickly. So I don't think those loading screens are meant to piss you off. I think it's just something that they just couldn't deal with during development.
Yeah. So, I really want you to get a PS4 so you can hold my hand and teach me the ropes.
Dude, you have no idea. Like, I really want one.
I could have used you so bad in the first 5 to 7 hours of that game. I was ready to like just break the disc because I just thought there was no end to it. At one point, and I think I brought this up before, I thought you had to beat the game flawlessly.
No.
I was just like, oh, so when you die, everything respawns. So you just have to go through. I was like, well, maybe this is like a 2-hour game, but it's so hard that it's going to take 30 hours. And so I had these crazy ideas, because I didn't understand the game, and like I do now. And there are things in that game where I'm just like, no idea what this does. I picked up something and it's just like, no idea. Like,
yeah.
I think it was yesterday I was playing, and there's like these cold dew where you can like recover a large amount of or not recover, it just gives you blood echoes, which is the currency. And like I read the description and that's what it said, but I was like, I wonder what else this does. And so like I pressed it twice and I got like 4,000 echoes or something like that, and turned the corner and got murdered. And so I just wasted 2 of those, like just wasted. And it also took me 3 hours for me to realize that you could go back and collect those things that you lost.
Oh, yeah, you get one shot once you die to recover them. And an interesting mechanic that they added in this game that wasn't in the prior games was sometimes when you die, a monster will become infused with your souls or your blood echoes.
That's in this game?
In this game only. So instead of just going to pick them up, sometimes there's a monster that has essentially picked them up, and you have to kill that monster to get them back.
Oh, I did notice that. I killed one of them, and I was like, blood echoes retreat.
They kind of have like glowing. They have a glow about their head.
Yeah.
And so they that's a new little wrinkle.
Yeah, dude. There's all these little nuances.
I kind of like that.
Making you work for it.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like that now you can't, because a lot of what you do in those games as well. Well, depending on your play style, is sometimes you just say fuck it and just run past shit and don't kill it because it's not worth it. It's not worth risking getting killed by this thing when you've got so far to go. So you just, especially bosses, like once you start getting to bosses and start trying to kill a boss, those runs back and forth, you usually will just run past everything.
So bosses, I have yet to beat a boss, and so but they will respawn in the world, like if you die.
Bosses, once you kill a boss, bosses are dead.
Okay.
They don't respawn. Now in Dark Souls 2, or in prior games, like you could do certain things in the world to make those bosses respawn. But as far as I know, that's not in Bloodborne, other than the New Game Plus function. But that's starting the game anew, all over, with shit just being harder.
Yeah, I've only gotten one boss to a 3rd health, and then the dude like morphed into something else and murdered me. And
yeah, I was listening to you talk about that in your video, and I was laughing.
Yeah, that was...
How surprised you were about that happening.
I was really pissed. Like, I was so happy that I was just, like, going through the motions, getting this dude down. I had, a lot of, like, blood vials, which is, like, health potions. And then I got him down to, like, a 3rd health. Dude morphed, literally one-hit me. And it was just like, all right.
He's a nasty boss. He's definitely... that of the early bosses you can fight, he is the first real like gut check of like, okay, this is what these games are really about, is very intense fights where, and that fight in particular is really well designed because it's another hunter and it reacts and fights you like another hunter would for the most part. I mean, a lot of the attacks are kind of predictable once you get the pattern down, but the dodging, the shooting, the swings with the axe, they feel very natural coming at you, like especially the way your hunter plays. And so I think that boss is really well designed, and the enrage mechanic, as you called it in your video, really ups the game. And that's something else I've noticed in this one in particular, is they've got a lot more enrage mechanic style boss fights in this game.
Good, so I have more to look forward to then.
And it's not necessarily enraging, it's just like you get the boss down to a certain level of health, and some new wrinkle shows up into the fight. Sometimes they just become more aggressive. Sometimes there's a new skill to come out. I don't want to spoil it.
That sounds like a pretty common, game mechanic though for bosses.
It's nothing. It's hardly original, but I would say I don't think that's something they have done so heavily in the Souls franchise overall, where they've had these enrage mechanics. The one thing I wish they would fucking bring back that they haven't is in Dark Souls, and I'm pretty sure in Demon Souls, I haven't played that one, you could chop off pieces of bosses, and use those to craft items.
Oh, I know in one of the earlier boss fights, like I said, I've only done 2 of them. There's 2 places you can target, and so I don't know. So I don't know if you can like chop those off or anything.
No, it's not. It's not in this game. They've really streamlined the item and weapon itemization. And
I was actually gonna ask you about that. I was doing some reading, and it seems like in Dark Souls 2 and 1 and Demon Souls, there's like a lot of builds that players could have, and like a lot of other different mechanics, like especially with weight. Like you can only carry so much weight, like your gear can only, and there's a lot of different weapon types. And it seems in this game, and granted, I'm not that far in, but there's like you said, the weapons are very streamlined, and it doesn't seem like there's that much more variety as there was before. Not playing, I don't know what I'm talking about, but to you.
Well, on paper, there was a lot of items and a lot of stuff to play around with in those games. But as gamers do, min-max builds would come about, and there would be, if you wanted to play a bruiser, here's how you're going to play. If you want to play a dex guy, here's what you're going to play. If you're going to, that's, it really, ended up going into these cookie cutter builds anyways. And so I don't really, it sucks because there's less of that discoverability aspect where you're finding new items, and there's a lot less opportunity for lore to be written on items. But I mean, there's so many shitty items in the other games anyways that never really got used. So I mean, and plus I think there's 16 weapons in Bloodborne, but then each of those transforms, so those are 2 weapons in and of themselves. And then there's also the cool stuff where you can swing combo with your transform, and you do a special move as you're transforming your weapon for an attack.
Didn't know that. That sounds awesome.
So there's a huge amount of depth. Yeah, have you seen the Kirk hammer?
No, I haven't fooled around with that. I know what it is, but I haven't fooled around with it.
Yeah, so the Kirk hammer is this really cool weapon where, and I don't know how good it is overall, but it's really sweet where if you're in the normal, because for the vast majority, to generalize, the weapons have 2 modes. One's a much swifter, faster version, and then there's a heavier, more damage-dealing version. Well, the lighter, swifter version of the Kirk hammer is you just using the short sword, and you got the hammerhead on your back. And what you do is if you do, I think it's a light attack, and you swing forward, and then you hit the transformation, You grab the hammerhead behind you and swing the hammerhead with your other arm, and then stick the sword in, and then swing the hammer back up as it's fully transformed. So there's really cool nuance in the combat that it takes a lot to get used to the combat just by the variety of moves you can do anyways. So for a long-winded answer, I'm not really upset with what they've done with the itemization overall. A lot of people have been complaining about the armor as well, because the armor really, you can put on any armor set you want, and you're only going to get a small impact to your stats. And a lot of it's just going to be very specific to certain areas. Like this item set has more poison resistance, and there's an area that there's a lot of poison around. So it's a good idea to wear that. I don't really care. I've always kitted my characters out to look the coolest possible. So
yeah, I mean, me as well.
If I can do that and it not impact the way I play overall, I'm actually kind of on board with it. So
yeah, that's good. Specs, you've been watching a lot of like streams and stuff. What are your impressions of the game?
I mean, it looks hard as fuck, and I don't know if I've got time to bust my balls on a game like that. It looks like it'd be a lot of fun to at least try. I've never played like the series at all, so I really have not much to say about the series. I'll have to get into it, at least try if I ever get a PS4 like Zeus bag. But I don't know if it's really my game.
Yeah, I didn't think that either, but like it's like you said, it's fun exploring this type of stuff and playing a game in a different way, which maybe we can bring up the conversation that I kind of put on hold later. You know, is this the right way to play a game like Bloodborne has you, where it's no hand holding, or is it, the AAA games of today where it's, very linear, or, the world's not linear, but it's like, hey, do this, do that, do that, do this. Here's a quest log, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and there, end of the game. Good job. Whereas
I mean, why not have both? I mean, I think it's spice of life, it's variety. So, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think that's a huge appeal to these games overall. It's because there's such a lack of them that there's a desire to have this lack of. It's not even like lack of hand holding. It's just like because even if you compare Bloodborne or Dark Souls to something like Skyrim, where, there's direction, but you can also just go off on your fucking own and do whatever the shit you want and just fuck around in this giant world. It's still not the same sensation. Like, there is no direction at all in these games.
They don't explain shit. That you literally, you wake up when the game starts, you create a character, and then they're like, hey, go. You're a hunter.
What?
Go hunt.
And they have no problem with withholding that level of information. Like, I'm sure you don't know what the fuck insight does.
Oh, no. I have 3 insight.
None.
I have no idea. And
I'm sure you were not aware that until you got 1 insight, you could not even level your character up.
No, I didn't know that. I'm just finding that out right now. Well, maybe you can explain something. So like the doll, there's a doll in Haven, and that's how you level your character. Well, so like I went to her 2 times, and then the 3rd time, bitch is gone. And so now I'm just like, well, how the fuck do I level my character? Like, I don't know if you know this, but like she's not there anymore.
Is your insight at 0?
Not. I'm pretty sure it's at 3.
Because she doesn't come to life until you get 1 insight.
Yeah, I mean,
which is why you can't start leveling up until you get that 1 insight.
Yeah.
And there's several ways to get those. But I haven't heard of her disappearing. Did you attack her at any point?
No, I should have, but no. She just, I went and farmed some echoes, and I was like, I'm going to...
You sure she didn't just walk around to a different part of the level?
That very well could be if she does that.
Because They do that from time to time.
It very well could be, because I went to farm some echoes, and I was like, I'm about to level the fuck out of my character. I'm about to be strong as shit, son. And went there, she was gone. And I knew if you go back to the place, shit's going to respawn. So I was like, I bought like 30 Molotovs or something. Just spit my blood echoes on that shit. But yeah, she's gone. And so... Heartbroken. But I'm really enjoying the game. Like, I had a Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the Solar Sin or something. What is it?
Scholar of the First Sin.
Yeah, it's that's coming out like next week, or like, when's that come out? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't really kept that one on the radar.
But shit, I might pick that up. Is it coming on PC or is it just new consoles?
No, it's on PC.
Yeah, I might pick that up because like it's piqued my interest, the genre, and
yeah, and like. It's probably a controversial statement to say to a lot of the fans that are of the series, but if I had to recommend a game of that series to get into first, it would be Dark Souls 2, because it's much easier overall, and there's a little more effort. It's definitely a little more linear-esque. I mean, it's still... If you go from playing something like Far Cry 4 to Dark Souls 2, you're still in for a world of hurt. But, there's a little more direction. There's a little more descriptions given. So, you're still going to get killed and die a whole lot. But that's the one, if you're really hesitant about getting into those games and you're really scared of the harsh difficulty curve, that's the gateway drug to this franchise, in my opinion. 'Cause that's the one I started out on. And I think I don't know that I would have gotten into them as much as I have if I hadn't started out with Dark Souls 2.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about earlier about this like sense of accomplishment and stuff, and yeah, I've yet to beat a boss. But exploring this area and like telling you like I'm on pins and needles and everything, it was so fun that I was just like, this is the way I want to play a game. Like when I went and found something, I was like, motherfucker, I found this. I did this by myself. And when I beat, there's like a miniature boss on the first level, and when I beat him, I was like, I am awesome. I am the best at this game. No one's better than me. And it's just like there's just a sense of accomplishment that you don't get from other games. When you fight a boss in a normal AAA game, it's like it's basically like a bullet sponge or something, what have you. And it's just like if you do this long enough, you'll get there. But this one, like, you really got to learn from your mistakes and like build upon that. And when you do kill someone, it's like you did it, good job. Like that's all you.
So, was it the executioner?
Yeah, like the dude with like the kind of fat dude with like the cleaver.
Big axe, yeah. Yeah. That guy,
well, especially when
he looks pretty nasty.
Yeah, especially on the first starting area. When I ran into him, I was like, "Oh, this must be a boss." Like that's like.
But, to talk about subtlety and nuance in those games, one of the mechanics in that game is what's called a visceral attack, and the way it works is when an enemy's winding up to hit you, you shoot your gun at them, and it momentarily stuns them. And in that moment of stun, you can attack them for a critical hit where you do a lot of damage. Now, the interesting thing about this mechanic is that when you attack them, you don't use your weapon, which is really weird. That you're not using your weapon, that you just use your bare hand to just rip into them for a massive amount of damage. And a lot of people have been like, what the fuck? Why am I not using my weapon to do like a lot of damage? It does way more damage than me karate chopping this dude. But if you look closely at your hand, you'll see it transform into a claw and then go back down to a regular human hand.
I have not even experienced that yet.
That's the level of subtlety and nuance that they put in these games.
That's pretty sweet.
And that's why I fucking love it. And then, a minor spoiler, Father Gascoigne, the boss you were referring to, he has a line of dialogue that he says to you as you're playing. where he says along the lines of, "Why are you holding back? Why aren't you becoming your true self?"
And so is that when he enrages and does that thing?
It's not when he does that. But
no, but I'm saying it like is that his true self?
But yeah.
And so are you like that? Dude, if I get to turn into like a fucking werewolf type thing, that would be awesome. Like the very first level, or the very first area, you come to this like where all these like whatever they're called in the game, they're like worshiping like this werewolf altar type deal, or maybe a vampire. Like I've heard little noises about there could be vampires in the game. I haven't encountered one or even know there's one, but like it looks really cool. And the werewolves in the game look super awesome. Like the wolves do, they look really good. Everything in that game looks really good, aside from the 30 FPS. But it looks really good. Like that Victorian kind of England, London look looks super dope.
Just wait, like that game.
I've heard a lot of All right, yeah.
It goes like David Lynch later on. It gets
awesome.
Crazy. It gets
awesome.
Bonkers. I won't ruin it, but that game's story is so fucked up. It's just I love it. I need more of it.
Well, I'll bring the PS4 over for maybe some weekend drinking, and you can get your fix on, and I can learn some things.
Now I do want to know, because something else about this game, which is I don't know that. I think Demon Souls did something kind of similar, but not to this degree. It starts you out without a weapon. And then, in your way, it puts a werewolf between you and this closed door. And you have to run past this werewolf without a weapon. Now, I want to know, how long did you spend trying to karate chop that werewolf?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, for 45 seconds to a minute till he defeated me? Like, I was, like, dodging, or, like, I don't even know if I was dodging, but I was karate chopping the shit out of that thing. I was like, all right.
Because that is just true, like, Dark Souls, where they put an enemy in the way that they're just like, yeah, you're not supposed to fight this thing. We just put it here to see if you would try.
Yeah, like, I can't remember if the door was open behind him. Like, is there any way that, a player can run through there and go out into the world?
You just run past him and run up those stairs to that closed door, and you just start opening it and run away.
So you can start the game like right there? Because usually,
you don't have to kill him.
Are you talking about the place? Because like you're supposed to be killed.
As soon as you start the game in Yusefska's clinic, after you go through that cutscene, when you wake up on that table, you get up, walk around, and you see a werewolf or a lichen off in the distance.
Yeah.
You can just run past him.
Well, how do you make your way to Haven?
You go to that lamp.
Oh, because I know 99% of people just get murdered there. You wake up in Haven, and then that's where you get your gear and your weapons.
Yeah.
And then you just go back to that place and defeat the werewolf. So you can just run past it?
You can run past him and never fight him, and don't have to get killed in order to get to the hunter stream.
They probably did that just because 99% of people didn't realize that, and they would just keep dying over and over again.
Maybe, but I thought...
So it's like, all right, we'll see.
And there was a very similar thing in Dark Souls, except it was a boss. They put an actual boss fight there, and you had no weapon, which was really funny.
Well, I mean, we could probably go on about Bloodborne for a long. Maybe we should just make a separate cast where me and you should give me pointers while I play.
Yeah, I have no problem screaming at you while you play that game.
It sounds like our Diablo experience.
I already noticed while you were playing that because you had a complaint about the clunky item selection system, yet you didn't actually ever put something. Because you can hot swap them dicks.
Oh yeah, but it seems so difficult to
There's a square right there beside where your health
your blood vials and your bullets are, and that's another quick item you can use.
Ah, see, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Dude, yes. I'm about to defeat this bird balls tonight, son. Because I've gotten
you have to pull up a side menu.
Dude.
Select another item.
Yes.
They could. I mean, there's a big square right there that's empty that you could have.
I don't remember seeing that.
Item.
But that's awesome. Yeah, because it was just so difficult to like bring up this fucking menu and then use the D-pad. Yeah,
that's a secondary function. But I thought that was funny when I was watching your video. I was like, kind of face palming.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can bring up some other stuff. I don't know. Have y'all seen anything? I think that's probably the biggest thing that's got my attention this week. And maybe that's just because, and I know, Specs, this is really going to hit on you because I think you're like me. It's like Halo Online in Russia. Have you seen this?
No, I've been seeing all these Halo commercials on TV.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. But Halo Online in Russia.
In Russia.
It's basically like an MMO type thing, but it's got like all the maps and stuff, and you play online. And it's PC. That's what gets me. It's fucking PC.
Well, who's creating it? Like, who's making it?
I mean, I think it's like a separate team from 343. The people who made Halo 4. Mm-hmm. I think it's a separate team. But, like, I hope that's just like a test phase. Because if that comes to the U.S., like, I am on board. Like, I don't know if it costs anything or not, but, like, to play Halo on a PC, 1080p, 60 frames per second with a mouse and keyboard, count me in. I just think that's...
Yeah, I mean, that looks pretty...
Well, you know...
It's pretty sweet. It's odd, though, that they would beta test in Russia.
Well, there's no evidence that it's a beta test. It's just like, it's in Russia. That's it.
Is.
Well, not to deviate too much, but, I mean, it's looking like there's a solid shot that Halo 5 could come out on PC right now. Which would be fucking sweet.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that or seen any indication.
Yeah, there's been some rumors going about that Halo 5 could come out on PC. And, I mean, Microsoft has started to kind of be like, hey, you know, they've sort of abandoned this platform, but we're kind of looking to start approaching it and actually adding to it a lot more as a gaming platform than we have done previously. So that would be a great start if they put Halo 5 on there.
Yeah, and on an additional...
I will never play it otherwise.
Oh, I will. I will buy an Xbox One for that. But on an additional side note, I've heard, I think like the developer's kit or something of DirectX 12, like, you know, you can get it to be your developer or something. But I've heard it's pretty fucking good. Like, it's a big boost in performance.
Exactly. And that's like one of those things.
And so, like, that's always good to see. But yeah, if Halo 5 comes, that's awesome. But I mean, like, this Halo Online business blew me away because I was just like, why? Like Steph says, why would you beta test in Russia? Just like, that just seems so off the wall. It's like they spun, you know, a world map and just threw a dart and was like, oh, let's go there. Let's test it there.
Well, you know, like the online, because I mean that sounds like it would be a free-to-play game almost. So like the online free-to-play games are huge over there. Like World of Tanks is massive. Dota 2 as well. You know, it's a different game, but massive over there. So I'm not surprised. I mean, because if like, you know, if they can develop a free-to-play online game that's really hits that market, because that market as well is notorious for piracy. Like the Russian market is just huge for it. It's a lot of the reason why we have different pricings for different regions. So not to get into that whole thing, but you know, I can buy the same copy of Battlefield 4 over in Russia for like half the cost because they're like, well, we'll just sell it cheaper to avoid the risk of it being pirated. So I'm actually not as surprised to hear that. And and it's also kind of flying under the radar as a result of doing that, which might be another reason they decided to do it that way.
Yeah, I hope it is sort of like a testing phase where they can come to the U.S. and other markets. But I guess this would kind of flow into we brought up Halo 5 before, and Specs brought up the kind of the marketing campaign that Halo 5's on, and I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
I'm just trying to figure out where it's picking up from Halo 4. But obviously, there's a lot to dig into.
Yeah, I actually did not beat Halo 4 story because I thought the multiplayer in Halo 4 was top notch. I know I'm in the minority there, but I thought it was really good, and so I just played that continuously. I know the gist of it, and so spoiler warning if you fucking haven't seen Halo or play Halo, but Cortana dies at 4, and then Master Chief is like, I'm gonna go away. I've done enough for this universe. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, which is my understanding. Like I said, I haven't beat the game, but my sister has beat it several times, and and then some happens in Spartan Ops, the 2 free to play or the 2 Windows games, and then there's a comic called Halo Extraction, I think, that kind of pinpoints what's going on. So Halo 5, the whole thing is their marketing campaign. There's this new guy, Locke, or maybe not new guy. I think he's in Halo 2. I'm pretty sure he's in Halo 2. And but this Locke guy is pursuing Master Chief, and there's kind of a divergent 2 campaigns, and it's really you just got is Master Chief a bad guy? That's kind of the way they're spinning it is maybe he's not this poster child that everyone thinks. And so it's got a lot of people thinking well, what the hell did he do at the end of 4? What's he been doing that has the UNSC or whatever after him? What's he done? And I think it's been brilliant. They got 2 commercials out right now that it's the same commercial except the roles are reversed, where Master Chief is looking down Locke, and then it's Locke looking down Master Chief, and both of them have a story to tell. And so I think it's absolutely brilliant. There's a Tumblr called Hunt the Truth. And there's this guy, a reporter, that's digging into the life of Master Chief, and it's all really well. The voice acting is really good. I mean, just the voice. I think it's brilliant. I'm excited. I don't even own an Xbox One, but I am excited. I think it looks awesome.
I heard they're doing an ARG for Halo 5, but I haven't looked into it.
What do you mean by that?
Alternate reality game. It's
oh, I haven't heard that.
They did Watch Dogs did a big ARG where they make a fake website.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was thinking something else, but yeah, that's sort of like it is. That's the Hunt the Truth Tumblr. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, go there.
Okay. So I mean, it's I Love Bees. Only one of the original ones.
Yeah. So I think it's.
I mean, build that hype train. I mean.
Yeah, I mean
Xbox One needs
they set a release date.
Something.
I don't know, dude. And maybe this is another discussion we can bring up. And we're not that big of into console games, but Uncharted 4 leaving this year, calendar year, PlayStation, it's no longer going to be released this year. I think that leaves Sony in a very big hole for this holiday. The Xbox is going to have, or Microsoft is going to have, Halo 5 and Tomb Raider, and those are 2 exclusives. I think those are very big games.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that'll
Sony has nothing.
That'll give them a chance to catch up, but I mean, Sony's still killing it overall. And Bloodborne just came out, and I don't care how good Halo 5 or Tomb Raider is. In my mind, they will never be as good as Bloodborne, and I haven't even played that game. But so I still think they've got a big win there, and anytime a re-release of a game comes out and people are going to have to choose between one or the other, they're most likely going to choose the PS4 because it's got more horsepower behind it overall. So I don't think that it's a
it does. I'm not saying it's not a huge hit for them to not have that, but they're still far enough ahead to where it's just giving Microsoft a chance to catch up in the race. You know, I mean, fuck, I'm sure they got a pretty decent bump just from The Last of Us Remastered Edition on PS4. I'm sure that was a huge bump in sales for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't want to get into that now, but kind of like circle back around. Do you like these marketing campaigns? Like, if I guess if we are 6-7 months out from this game being released, and the hype is building. Like I just said, I am very excited. But do you like these ad campaigns 7 months? And in general, do you like these type of ad campaigns where it's very, very interactive with the audience?
This Hunted the Truth thing, I'm just kind of briefly looking at it, but I love the marketing campaigns that are like games where you have to kind of solve the riddle, and if you do, then you get like in real life bonuses, like you get to go play the game in a movie theater 2 months before it gets released or something. Because I'm pretty sure that's what I Love Bees was about. If you figured out the location of the movie theater, you could just show up on a certain day and they were there and people were just playing a game. So it's kind of like a little niche-y thing for people who really want to get some cool rewards. If that's what it is, then I think that's fine. Marketing 7 months in advance or something. Otherwise, I may lose interest. I may stop following it. I'll probably show up when the game comes out, but
I mean, I just don't know if are they going to keep this up for 7 months where they release tidbits every Sunday for 7 months? I just don't think that's.
It'd be cool, but I like the idea of it, but in all reality, I kind of fucking hate stuff like this. Because so many games have just been horribly murdered upon release not because they were bad games, because they did not live up to the hype behind them.
And you mentioned one earlier.
Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs.
Is not. I never played the game, but I've seen enough and read enough to know that's definitely not a bad game.
It's not a bad game.
But it's not, the fucking next-gen experience that they hyped it up to be. And the vitriol and the backlash that game got as a result was just... There's no way it was going to live up to the hype, regardless.
I will say this, though. Halo franchise has been well established.
I'm not saying it's not going to pay off for them. Watch Dogs still sold a shit ton of copies.
Yeah, a fuck ton.
Oh yeah, but
which is why
immediately.
Which is why they do these marketing campaigns.
Exactly.
Is to sell copies. But it is going to come to a point where consumers are just going to stop pre-ordering, and I think we're about there. I think we are almost there.
I feel like there's a hive mind of people to do it, and they don't care.
We're not there yet. It's still getting down. It's at least getting to the point now to where you've really got to offer me something beyond just a fucking stupid costume for my character. The last game I pre-ordered was Borderlands 2, and that was purely because I got the first DLC for free, and I got the game $10 cheaper by pre-ordering it. So I was like, okay, so this game I was most likely going to buy the first day it came out anyways. I'm getting it a little cheaper, and I'm saving another $10 to $15 on DLC. So in my mind, it's worth the risk. But I really hate these hype building machines, mostly because they make me never want to play these games. If Watch Dogs had not had the kind of campaign it had behind it, I would have probably ended up buying that game on sale or something. Now I will never play that game because it's never going to live up to what they built it up to be overall. And so I would just wish they don't as much hype as there is for The Witcher 3, and I talk about this because it's my most anticipated game this year, they're still playing it pretty low key. Like, every now and then an article will come out from a magazine, or they'll release, like, some gameplay footage, but they still are kind of playing this game close to the chest overall for such a huge, like, PC game in my mind. I mean, fuck, I did read something today where it's like, expect over 200 hours of gameplay for the game. I was like,
just came my pants. Oh my god.
But I still think, I love the idea of it, especially like an ARG or something where, it's this cool thing you can do outside of the game to get some, like, story elements.
I wouldn't mind if they did something like this, if they just kind of popped up, like every 6 to 8 weeks, they release something else, like where, like, this, I found all this out like 2 days ago. I think the trailers released, or the commercials released yesterday. And I was like, boom, it's coming out this year. That's awesome. I'm excited. And, I'll lose interest a week from now. And then maybe 6 to 8 weeks to 2 months from now, they're like, hey, here's something else. And it's just kind of like, oh, shit, yeah, that is coming out this year. I'm interested in that. 2 months later, it's like, then you start building. But 7 months out, like, Watch Dogs, the hype train was built 2 years. They built that hype train for 2 years.
And it was like, first year, we've got pylons.
Yeah.
Second year, we've got our bollards. We've got bollards. And then the second year, they're like, we've got more bollards. And it's like, okay, this is all they've got for this.
And I'll speak to, like, maybe a little bit of Ubisoft in general. Is like I am interested in the Division, just interested, and I do not want them to do what they did to Watch Dogs to the Division, because the concept sounds okay, sounds good, and they showed it off at 2 E3s, and it's like, just make it good. Do not fuck this up. So. Well,
and I'm going to go back to saying that I think for the franchise that have established themselves, they get on their big marketing train. I can trust a little bit more what they say, because they've at least proven themselves to make a game that works and is good. When these new concepts come out, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of great storytellers out there, but until the team shows themselves capable of actually developing a good game, I'm not going to buy it. Until I'll let other people actually play the game, and I'll see what they say. Because it just gets expensive.
Yeah, I think...
and I would buy that, except the Master Chief Collection came out in such a fucked up state that I don't have that faith in Halo.
And, well, I'll just...
And that game is still broken, as far as I'm aware.
I'll just kind of like...
Broken,
I think 343 is still trying to prove themselves. Halo 4 was really good. I liked it a lot, but I don't think a lot of people bought it. I don't think a ton of people bought it, and then after the whole Master Chief debacle, which they handled, or the Master Chief Collection debacle, and now it's just kind of like, we really got to, like, do something. Which a lot of people are like, are they going to kill Master Chief? Which is like, fuck no, they're never going to kill Master Chief. That dude will be a video game character for the next 25 years. But, like, I'm interested to see what they're going to do, because I think they're going to make, like, kind of a drastic. Like, I think the story is going to be good. A lot of people say that it could be a double campaign where one side's Locke, the other side's Chief, and so then at the end they kind of converge, which, like, I just think it's cool. But I do think they're still trying to prove themselves. Like, Bungie, Halo 1 knocked it, boom, out of the park. System seller on Xbox. Just incredible. Halo 2, amazing. Halo 3, real good. And then they left. And I think 343 is still trying to be like, hey guys, we can still do this. Like, we're competent. So, I think, yeah.
Well, we'll see. I'm curious to see who was on that development team that made the Master Chief Collection.
I mean, I'm sure it was 343.
No, they were the developers for sure.
Yeah, they handled it. They handled the crossover.
Which is,
They messed it up.
They fucked it up real bad.
Yeah, I mean, you could play the single player.
Well, I'm just gonna hope that Halo 4 was their creation from scratch, and that they messed up because they were trying to recreate Halo.
Well, it's all
games
yeah.
from the past.
It's not that. It's all like server side. It's all like it just some stuff. There's just some bugs and glitches. Like nothing's wrong with the game, like the single player, like what Zeusbag just said. It's just all server side. That's from what I understand. Have not played it, but
Neither have I.
I guess that's a lot about Halo. I'm pretty excited for Halo 5. Decent.
I'll play it if I can.
I'd love to be excited for it, but it's like an FPS that's on console, and I can't play those anymore.
Can't be bothered.
I can't. They feel so slow to me.
Speaking of FPS on console, it's time for our weekly Destiny talk.
God damn it.
I did play some Destiny this weekend. It was as bad as I remembered. I can't stop playing it. Zero was selling some good shit.
Program for you?
Dude, there should be. I know I've spoken to many people on Reddit r/Destiny the game where people are like, this game is bad, but I play it every day.
I mean, it's like, it's that same like Diablo grind / like
it's
getting into WoW for the first time. It's just like you're like, this is so shitty. If I just fucking find this goddamn item, this game will be.
That's all it is an item hunt, and then you're there, and it doesn't help that there's this little idiot that comes to the central hub every week that sells. And if you want a little backstory on Destiny, there's been a war with Destiny.
With the data miner, I read that story.
And so now Bungie has taken.
There's two of them.
Yeah, Bungie has taken over what this guy sells, and so the last 2 weeks have been really fucking good, good items. And so I've just been leveling up that shit this past weekend. All right, yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny because they've always said that they have no control over this dude, and then the last 2 weeks he's just been selling really good stuff, and the data miner came out and was like, yeah, they changed it, and so it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was funny. But anyways, Destiny. So now we're going to talk about Diablo 3 because we talked about Destiny.
Which Diablo 3 is a better game in every single way.
And the new season starts in 2 weeks.
Wait, what?
Yeah. 2 weeks.
Get excited, get pumped.
Season 3 is in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Season 2 ends next week.
Season 3 is in 2 weeks. I don't believe you.
Gaggle it.
Oh my god, dude. I'm about to start. I don't know what I'm going to start.
Is Diablo back on sale then?
I don't know. I doubt it.
I feel like usually that's when they do it, New content, new reason to get excited.
Season 3, Friday, April 10th. Well, pencil that shit in for a long weekend. Dude, yeah. Oh, it starts on Sunday. Well, either way.
They've had some odd, last season started on a Friday.
Yeah, which makes sense to me.
Starts on a Sunday.
So this is
okay.
We're in the Eastern time zone, so it's midnight, so it'll be Monday for us.
Yeah, it'll be Pacific time, whatever that time is.
So pencil that shit in, Speps, Zeusbag. Oh wait, you gotta work. Yeah.
Actually, I'll be out of work that entire week.
Oh.
Nailed it,
More to
dude.
come on that. So we'll see. Actually, I'll be really high on oxycodone too. So
Dude, even
that
better.
should be bring some excitement to the game.
Get that gold.
Sure, starting the Wizard season 3.
I heard they buffed it a good bit, didn't they? Or some of the skills and shit. I'm undecided between I've never done a demon hunter, so it's between a demon hunter and a wizard and a monk. It's between those. But
I saw a wizard get a 3 billion crit with a meteor, and I was like, well, yeah, I can play that.
sold. There was something else. What was else we wanted to talk about this week? We're about at time, but
I mean,
I don't have.
we can talk about Bloodborne again if you want.
I mean, I think that's going to be a topic for discussion, probably for the next several weeks.
Arkham Knight.
Yeah, I guess that's
Delayed.
yeah. We can hit on that. I was pretty bummed on that, but it's a 3-week delay. But this is not the first time. I think this is the third time it's been delayed. And
I mean, it is kind of like, okay, because they did it, and before that, GTA 5 on PC has been delayed again and again.
Uncharted 4 has been delayed out of this year. I mean, the game we all love, The Witcher 3, has been delayed several times. And so,
yeah, and again, it's like, it's hard for me to get upset because it does mean that they're just trying to make the game better upon release, which is a pretty good fucking idea to do, especially as ballsed up as some really. I mean, how many releases have just gone so badly within the last 2 years?
Oh, it's a
Because
ton.
of games being clearly rushed out the door. I mean, Master Chief Collection, obviously.
SimCity.
SimCity, Battlefield
4. Watch Dogs was
Watch
pretty.
Dogs, it's just like
Unity, Assassin's Creed Unity.
Assassin's Creed Unity. I mean, it's hard to really be upset, but it's like, yeah, because you guys kind of get a little better idea of when these games are going to come out before you just start saying, and I'm sure it's not the devs, I'm sure it's the publishers being like, look, we got to fucking give a date, even if we can't stick to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just think that's really. I agree with you 100%. That's probably what it is the publishers are like, just give me a date.
Because not to get on Blizzard's nuts or anything, but you can fucking bank. Once Blizzard announced the date that game is coming out and it's going to be ready to play. Although the Diablo 3 launch was shaky, so I can't even say that in stone. But for the most part, once a Blizzard game is coming out, that shit is set in stone coming out, and it's going to be ready to play. So I don't know. It's annoying, but I can't be too upsetting for.
I mean,
better.
Yeah, there's a lot of games coming out that just get delayed. So it's almost to the point where you expect it. It's like, all right, is that the real date? Especially when it came to GTA, where it got delayed 4 or 5 times. And so
it's almost like a marketing ploy. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna show them we really care by delaying our game just to make them think that it's gonna be better.
It's better.
We actually haven't been fucking working on this game for 6 months. It's gonna make them think we're still working hard on it. I'm sure that's not true.
Well, yeah, I think Arkham Knight, the same day, literally, maybe even the same press release. It was yeah, the game's going to be delayed 3 weeks, but here's a 7-minute gameplay trailer just to get you more hype. It's just okay, damn it. So, yeah.
It'd been better if it was just here's Batman stroking the Joker off.
Confirmed Joker's in the game.
Completely unrelated to the game, but we spent. Here's the reason why the game was delayed: is one of our art guys was making this animation scene with Batman jerking off the Joker. I'd be okay with that if they had to delay a game 2 weeks because of that. I mean,
damn it, Bob! You're supposed to be fixing the loading screen glitch, not making the Batman jerk off the Joker.
I mean, if CD Projekt Red came out and was so the game's delayed another month, but we got this full feature-length video of Geralt just pounding Triss.
Sign me up.
How upset are we going to be?
Only if you pre-order today.
And only if his beard grows as he bangs her.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. All right. I think that's it.
Any closing comments?
Closing comments. Specs, last week we toasted, we went off wishing you a happy death.
I mean, we were convinced you were dead.
Yeah.
So.
I guess, yeah. How much drink you got left?
I may or may not have died. I can't confirm nor deny that. Yeah, but I was definitely AFK. So to that, I apologize. And to my return,
hey man,
toast myself.
You're here now. I think we should finish every SIPcast with the finishing of the sip.
Oh, I have just finished.
So we just like down the rest of our drink,
regardless.
This is a lot of gin.
This is done.
This is a lot of rum. That's the true SIPcast right there.
Oof, I'm a goof.
Hey, this is Cyrus Henry 51 in the flesh. Well, I guess in the voice, but it doesn't sound as good as in the flesh. But we're gonna keep on rolling. I'm here. Why don't you click that subscribe button while you're here? Click it. I know you want to click it. Your mom wants you to click it. Your dad wants you to click it. Your friends want you to click it. Probably your sweet, sweet grandmother wants you to click it. So click it. It could be the most important thing you do today, maybe the week, maybe the whole year, and maybe, just maybe, your whole life. So click that goddamn subscribe button. Appreciate it, guys.